Shabbat Shalom everyone, and welcome to the temple. So wonderful to have you on this special Shabbat. We begin our service as we sing together Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. How beautiful the day is. It is Shabbat. And we turn now to page 172 as we sing together Ma Tovu. And we turn to page 195 for the Berlow. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל, המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קנייניך, תתברך אדוני אלוהינו על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפארו חסלה, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. And we read together, the world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch Ata Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. And we turn to page 200 for the calling of the Shema.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And we turn now to page 204 for the singing of Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. No
We rise now as we turn to page 205 for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours. Help us to see the wonder of being, give us the courage to search for truth, teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring near the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. Baruch ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. And we read together, you are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold, that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder. Sit with me, eternal teacher. Encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, and reaching myself in the giving. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch ata Adonai, mechayeh hakol.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכינו, הוא מושיענו, הוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Turn now to page 216 for the blessing for shalom, for wholeness and wellness and well-being and peace. O God, may we never become complacent, faltering in our effort to build a world of shalom, of peace. Let the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest. May all come to see that it is not by might nor by power, but by your Spirit that life prevails. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
Sim shalom, sim shalom tova ubracha. שים שלום טובה וברכה, שים שלום טובה וברכה. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה
We all need courage and healing and strength in our lives, in the life of everyone that is dear to us. The Mishe Berach, the prayer for healing and courage and strength, is on page 253. And we turn now to Seder Kriyat Torah LeShabbat, the order of reading from the Torah on Shabbat, on page 244. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Our God is one, Adonai is great, holy is God's name. We have a great Torah portion today. It's called Jethro or Yitro. It's a Torah portion where we get the 2 tablets of covenant, you know, those 10 statements that in English are called the 10 commandments. And that's a big thing. In our chapel, they're presented on our ark and on the wall, which is next to the ark. Here, they're the centerpiece of the ark, and everything comes from there. They're a big thing in our tradition because that's the one moment that God speaks to everyone, to the entire community, to everyone that is there. And we actually believe, our tradition teaches us that God speaks to everyone that is there, and even the people that were not there, even to us. That's the centerpiece kind of our faith. So today we're going to read some of them because it's actually quite long, and we're going to try and see what's the main message that might come to our lives from the 2 tablets of covenant, even though there are a lot of important message, but we'll try to look at one of them. Seems extremely relevant to our lives here in North America and all around the world. But I want you to focus. I'm going to read the first few commandments, and I'm saying few and not a number, because actually it's a very controversial issue. The way Christians count it and the way Jews count it is not the same. And actually, even among Christians, the Catholic and the Protestants don't have the same structure of the 10 Commandments and argue inside Christianity what is the order of the commandments. But Jews agree among ourselves what is the order, but it's different than the way both Protestants and Catholic count them. So I'm going to read the first few that are about Adonai our God, and I want you to pay attention, because it's part of the message. It's not the main thing, but it's important, how complicated it is for Adonai to explain one simple message, that there is only one God. We always say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Okay, hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one, or Adonai is alone. Look at the 2 tablets of covenant. They are either 3 or 4, depends how you count, commandments just explaining that there is only one God. Look how complicated, how many words Adonai needs in order to tell us that there's only one Adonai. But first, let's do the blessing before. Jennifer, can you lead us on page 250?
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai hamborach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור, אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אשר הוצאתיך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי, לא תעשה לך פסל וכל תמונה אשר בשמיים ממעל ואשר בארץ מתחת, ואשר במים מתחת לארץ. לא תשתחווה להם ולא תעבדם, כי אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אל קנו, פוקד עוון אבות על בנים, על שלישים ועל רבעים לשונאי, ועושה חסד לאלפים לאוהבי ולשומרי מצוותיי. לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא, כי לא ינקה אדוני את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. And we read the translation, which goes like this. God spoke all these words, saying, I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods beside me. You shall not make for yourself a sculptured image, or any likeness of what is it in the heavens above, or in the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, Adonai your God, am a jealous God, visiting the guilt of the fathers upon the children until the third and upon the fourth generations of those who reject me, but showing kindness to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not swear falsely by the name of Adonai your God, for Adonai will not clear one who swears falsely by God's name. So all this long explanation, 3 commandments according to our count, is just to tell us one thing. There is only one God, and that is Adonai your God. Traditionally, Jews say that the structure of the 10 commandments is like that. And you can look at the structure. I don't know how much you can focus, but you can see that that is like the famous image of the 10 commandments. And you have 5 on one side and 5 on the other side. I wish I would have a bigger image here to say that. And usually, traditionally, we say the first 5 are about Adonai, and the second 5 are about human beings. So in the first 5, we have things like, I am Adonai your God, you should not make yourself a sculptured image, you should not bow, don't worship any other gods. And then the big explanation, not the ones that are above, not the ones that are here, not the ones that are below in the water, and so on. And in the second part, it's don't steal, don't covet your neighbor's wife or ox, and so on. So half of it is about us and half is about God. Now, there's something very interesting about the structure of the commandments. And Jewish commentary has made a big to-do and learned a great lesson about that. So the first commandment is, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. I am Adonai, your God. And then a big explanation about the fact that there's only one God. And the first commandment that is about how we relate to one another, it's the 6th commandment, but it's placed here facing, I am Adonai, your God, is Lo tirtzach, thou shall not murder, or thou shall not take another human's life. Now, what is fascinating to me, the first commandment about God, that Adonai is our God and there's only one God, is like 30-something words, if not even more. It's so complicated that we made it into 3 commandments to explain that there's only one God. And then the first commandment, that it's about the relationship between human beings, it's just 2 words, Lo tirtzach, and do not murder. And the rabbis are saying those are equivalent commandments. Why are they equivalent? The rabbis are saying, why aren't you allowed to murder and to take another human's life? Because human beings are created in the image of God. And if you kill a human being, it's like you're diminishing the image of God in our world. There is a special dignity to human beings. Human beings are different than animals. And I apologize to all who don't think that and think that animals are just as human beings. That's not what our Torah says. You're allowed to kill other animals, you're not allowed to kill other human beings. And while it's so complicated to explain to us that there's only one God, God is making such an effort, the commandment about not taking human life is a very simple thing. Just don't do that. There's no buts and ifs. There's no small letters. There is no footnotes. Just you're not allowed to do that. The Midrash is saying the structure, the traditional structure of how we view the 2 tablets of covenant carries a huge message. It carries the message that taking a life of a human being, no matter what, is like hurting God, is like not fulfilling the first commandment, I am Adonai, your God. Until today in our world, when it comes to taking lives of other human beings, when it comes to murder, we make exceptions. I'm not talking about a situation where somebody wants to kill you and you have to defend yourself because the Torah says that you should defend yourself. I'm talking about other situations where we say, well, but if we target a person and there are a few more casualties there, but it's for the greater good, I guess that's okay. And countries do that, including our country, mostly in other lands and to other people, but those are human beings that the 2 tablets of covenant are saying you shouldn't kill them. And when you do that, and you're wearing a uniform and you're saying, well, I did it for a larger good, or because I received orders, or because of all that, all of a sudden it doesn't look as grave. And here our sources are saying something that unfortunately sounds so radical, and it shouldn't sound radical, that you're not allowed to kill someone else. You're not allowed to take the life of a human being. And again, it's not when you're defending your life. It's just, you're not allowed to do it. You know, there's a story in the Talmud about someone who points, what we would say a gun, but it's not, it's the sword then, to a famous rabbi, Rava, in Babylon in the 3rd century CE, and says to him, if you won't take the life of that person that we all know did nothing wrong, an innocent person, then we'll kill you. And Rava says, my blood is not redder than his blood. Maybe his blood is even redder than mine. I cannot take a life of another human being because it says, lo tirtzach. There's no ifs and buts there. There's no if somebody else forces me to, then it's okay to do that. This is something that unfortunately we should take to consideration when we see that, and our tradition teaches us that killing another person is inexcusable. It's hurting God no matter what. Shabbat Shalom, and let's say the blessing after reading from the Torah. Please, Jennifer.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betuchenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Lizot haTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Israel. Lizot haTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Israel. Al pi Adonai biyad Moshe, biyad Moshe. Al pi Adonai biyad Moshe, biyad Moshe. Zot haTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Israel. Zot haTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Israel.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Marian Morgulin, John A. D'Angelo, Carolyn Steinberg, David Zucker, Silas Starr, Simo Radin, Irving Fine, Tony Goldman, S. P. Cy Auerbach, Lonzo Meredith, Alma Nussbaum, Maurice Judah Jr., Herbert Philip Grossman, Fanny Blumenson, Helen Benovitz, Bess Miller, Nora Priblodia, Lawrence Adelman, Lillian Roberts, S. Harry Linker, Jean Mayer, John Klein, Regina Sivak, Jack Wolf, Sidney Tobin, James Levy, Lawrence Barr, Zachar Milson, Beatrice Bailing, Vera Weinstein, Shandel Center, Celia Idex, Pauline Zimmerman, Harry Smith, Pauline Gurevich, Isaac Pribloda, Frida Weinstock, Helene Schwab, Boris Heller, Helen Harbetter, Eileen Breyer, William Radigan, Norbert Friedman, Rosalind Feldman, James S. Levy, Ida Cohen, and in recent days, Shirley Tanchester Rees and Martha Jean Jones Isaac. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories of our loved ones, we rise as we turn to page 294 to read together the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריך הוא. לעלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה, may the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom. We ask God to bring peace and wellness to all humanity. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו, שתוליכנו לשלום ותשמחנו לשלום. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that we be guided on the path of shalom, of wellness and well-being and peace and wholeness, and that you always protect us from all harm and evil on our way. Bless the work of our hands and grant us grace, loving kindness, and compassion in your eyes, in the eyes of everyone who sees us. Adonai Shalom, bless us with the Shabbat of Shalom. Shalom to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls. שבת שלום.
Amen. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
שבת שלום.